If you're looking a rocket wrong, people can die. If you get it wrong at home, you can leave your stove on. The same habit can prevent both things. I keep seeing this all over Japan, on the train platforms, on factory floors, inside an actual space agency. A finger pointing at something, a voice calling it out loud. That's it. No apps, no fancy equipment. It's called point and call, and it's credited for cutting errors by up to 85% in some of the highest stakes environments on the earth. By the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how it works, where it comes from, and how I now use it walking out of my own front door. 100 years ago, it didn't exist. Then a Japanese railway worker had a problem. Tired drivers, distracted staff, the kind of small human errors that derails trains. The fix wasn't more rules, it was simpler than that. Point at the signal, say what you see out loud before you act. It sounds almost too basic to matter, but it forces your brain to actually work, not just glance and assume. That tiny difference is the whole trick. Toyota saw it working on the railways and built it straight into their Toyota production system. From there, it spread through Japanese manufacturing, aviation, and aerospace, one industry borrowing it from the next. 100-year-old train habit still running the country. I've always loved space travel. Space Camp, NASA in Houston, Edwards Air Force Base, all of that happened when I was a teenager, and it shaped something in me that never really left. Standing inside JAXA, the Japanese space agency, hit me the same way it did back then, but it also hit me harder in ways I didn't expect as an adult. Not just wonder this time, something close to recognition. Coming back to something you loved as a kid and realizing it still means exactly what it did then, maybe even more. And there it was again, the exact same habit I'd been seeing on the train platforms all this trip. Confirmation checks, physical points, verbal call-outs, happening at the level of preparing to send something into space. That's the moment it clicked. It isn't a quirky cultural habit you smile at and move on from. This is a serious error prevention system, trusted at the highest stakes humans face. If it's good enough for a rocket launch, it's good enough for me and my front door. Once you know what you're looking for, you can't stop seeing it. Train drivers point at signals through the cab window as the train pulls away. Gone in under 2 seconds on trains with 10, 12, 16 carriages, almost half a kilometre long. Every single departure. Platform staff check the line before they give the signal. Fast, practice, invisible if you're not watching for it. And there's the thing. The West already trusts this method in our own lives. We just don't call it the same thing. Pilots run verbal checklists before every flight. Surgeons follow the WHO checklist before every single procedure. Nuclear power plants use the 2-person verbal verification before anything critical happens. We always believe in this. We just stopped at the hospital door and the cockpit door. We never brought it home. People run through checklists on autopilot constantly. Eyes moving, brain is elsewhere. I've seen it 1,000 times. The checklist exists and errors still happen. Point and call breaks that physical action. Spoken word, visual confirmation, all three firing at once. Try doing that on autopilot. You genuinely can't. Your brain has to engage. The checklist tells you what to check and the order to check it in. Point and call is how you actually confirm it's true. Skip either half and the whole thing just gets weaker. Now, before I leave, I say each thing as I put it in my pocket. Keys, wallet, phone, Ventolin, sunnies. Then I point to the things I check before I leave, such as stove off, lights off, now they are, and door locked as I go out. That's the entire cost. I'll be honest with you, I still forget things sometimes. It isn't about being perfect, but since I started doing this properly, the number of times I've turned around halfway down the street has dramatically dropped off. A rocket launch and my front door running on the exact same principles. That's what gets me about system thinking. It doesn't care your scale, it just has to actually get used.